Lovely. Lovely.
Confident.
That's what I want to hear. That's why you're on side, because we need a bit of positivity.
When I'm wrong, you won't invite me back next week.
If I didn't invite people back when they got it wrong, we'd have no guests. So, yeah. And I could talk. We always get it wrong.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Now then, this is a big one, isn't it? Welcome to the warm-up, episode 66. Joining me, your host, Brady Frost, is Tom Bradshaw, and we're joined by Si Copland today. How are you both?
Very well, thanks, Brady. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. As good as you can be after a 2-0 loss, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a reality check.
Exactly, yeah. Tom, you don't have to ask me how I am. That's fine. You know, I know you do this with me every week, but...
Yeah, how are you, Brady? I hope you're well, mate.
I'm fine, mate. Thank you for asking.
Nice to see you again.
I haven't seen you in ages. Anyway, as I said, it's a big one. It's second v third in the table, and the Terriers come to Huddersfield having won twice in their last 5 games. So, you know, not the best of form. In regards to their away form, they're actually 9th in the form table. They've lost 4 of their last 10, and 3 of those losses were against playoff chasers Luton, Middlesbrough and Preston. So maybe a bit of positivity for us, guys. They do have 3 points, not 3 points. Well, they are 3 points ahead of us, but they also have three games in hand. So it's kind of all to play for, really. Head-to-heads all the time was quite interesting when I was having a look. 19 wins for both sides and 18 draws. So, yeah, hard to split historically, but our last win was actually that 4-1 in the Premier League. So we've not had a good recent record. Carlos has lost every game he's faced against Bournemouth as well. So we'll see. But Tom, I suppose we can only start in one place, really. Millwall game was dire, wasn't it? Do you think Town can bounce back in this one?
Yeah, I do. It was just one of those, wasn't it? Well, we had such a good start and we looked so comfortable. We looked like we knew how to break them up. We looked like we knew how to play against them. And I was sitting there thinking, oh, this is going to be an easy night. We're going to get a goal here and then it's going to be fine. And then it was kind of after that Danny Ward chance where on Sky, they were kind of playing it down like it was a bit of a half chance, but I thought he could have done a bit better. I mean, maybe it was just a bit far in front of him, but if he could have just kept that down a bit, it's one of those where if he's getting that on target, the keeper's struggling because of the kind of position he is away from the keeper. What can you do? It was just one of those. Millwall, you got to give credit to them as well. They set up really well. After that, they kind of rode that first 15 minutes and then we just couldn't break them down. And then after all the praise I've been giving him on the last pod, Jonathan Hogg goes and does one of those passes. I don't know what he was doing. He's like, surely he was looking in that direction as well. If you watch it back, he's even looking where he's passing it and he still passes it straight to one of their players. Insane.
The only thing I would say, because I said to you guys before recording, I was actually working late in an event, so I missed quite a lot of the Millwall game, and I've got 4 text messages from different people criticising Hoggy. So I was thinking, oh no, what's he done? There's still a long time before they score, is all I would say. So yeah, shocking, but you know, great finish from Afobe for both of them as well, actually.
Oh yeah, well, if it wasn't for Lee Nichols as well, Afobe could have had 5, I think it was last night.
So yeah, I don't know. As I said, you know, watch back, maybe just write that one off. Si, I'll come to you actually because it's been a while since we've had you on. What have you made of Town recently? Does the game against Millwall take some shine off of Town's performances for you, or you know, is it just it's just one bad game?
I think right now, more the latter, just one bad game. We still, in my opinion, surpassed all expectations this season, and I wouldn't want that to be tinged by what was, it's quite a poor performance. Don't think that'd be a fair reflection on kind of what's gone before, really. We're still in there with a very, very good chance of securing a playoff spot, which I would have certainly bitten your hand off and laughed at you in the face had you kind of said that at the start of the season. So, yeah, I don't want to kind of like read too much into it. Obviously, all eyes will be on Saturday's game now and a really tough fixture as well. But I think the only disappointment for me was with kind of last night was that we never really looked like we'd get back into it. It kind of felt kind of even at 1-0 down, kind of didn't create anything. The game had gone. Kind of commend Carlos for kind of trying to change things up a little bit. He obviously subbed Hogg off at half time, brought Sinani on, changed shape a bit as well with Turton coming on, that sort of thing. But it just never looked like getting back in the game, really, did we? So draw a line, move on, and kind of cross our fingers and hope for better on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, well said. But like we touched on there, it is a big game, and Bournemouth, good team, a lot of good players. Si, who did you pick as a key man for them?
Yeah, it's a bit of an obvious choice, to be honest. I'm pleased you've asked me before you've asked Tom, because he may well now be kind of looking for an alternative player. I've got Dominic Solanke. He's scored 23 goals so far this season, kind of Bournemouth's leading goal scorer by a long way. Philip Berlin in second place with 9, and then Jadon Anthony in third with 7. So a really big threat. Someone, if I'm being honest with you, I kind of didn't rate prior to this season. He's never really cut the mustard, has he? Kind of gone for quite big transfer fees to Liverpool and then to Bournemouth. I kind of wonder what all the fuss was about, but he's certainly done well at this level. And I think kind of if we are to get anything out of the game, keeping him quiet will be kind of key, really.
Definitely. Do you remember we were linked to him when we were in the Prem as well?
I do. Yes. Yeah.
What could have been, but no.
Was he at Bournemouth at the time? Was it Liverpool at the time?
It was Liverpool, wasn't it?
Liverpool,
yeah.
I'll tell you what,
Origi as well, weren't we?
Yeah, that was we were linked with Dzeko, weren't we, as well, apparently.
And Adrian.
All the good old times.
What I like about that site, I haven't picked him, but I think one thing that I think he has improved on a lot. I remember when we were linked with him, he was this kind of scrawny, cheap teenager now, but when I've seen him scoring this season, he looks like quite a unit up there as well. Do you know what I mean? He seems to have added to his game physically, so he is definitely someone we've got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think he's kind of completely agree with what you say, Tom. And I think kind of he's kind of really quite clinical, isn't he? Kind of round the box and that sort of thing. He'll be kind of scrapping on seconds and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, kind of Pearson and Lees or Colwell, whoever plays, will kind of have a tough task. But if we can keep him quiet, then hopefully we can do some damage at the other end of the pitch.
Yeah, let's just hope Lees has got his goal scoring headband back for this one as well. Tom, who did you pick from Bournemouth?
I've gone with someone we know far too well. So I have actually gone with Philip Berlin because, like Si touched on, he is their second most influential player. He's second top scorer, 6 assists. I just think it's one of those, isn't it? We were saying it last pod, Brady, classic Town. Oh, they always play well against us. And I think if he's on form, then it's going to be difficult if he kind of controls that midfield, stops us doing anything, because that's what he was good at, I thought, was breaking up play from the opposition. If he can stop us moving up the pitch, then he's doing his job. 10 yellow cards this season, though, so it could be one of those where, I mean, it always seems to be with a player returning, they either have a blinder and score a goal or they get sent off. So let's hope it's the latter, and maybe Town fans wind him up a bit and get him an early yellow card and see what happens from there, maybe.
I like it. Yeah, good player. I mean, been playing a lot more attacking since he's joined Bournemouth, hasn't he? Almost like a number 10. Yeah. So a bit of an interesting one. I also went for a midfielder, someone I've always liked, hell of a player, who I think is actually Premier League quality. Lewis Cook. Love him at Town. Maybe a bit past our pay, how much we want to pay in wages, but who knows, could go in the Prem, could sneak him, who knows. But he probably works straight out the eye in regards to like goals and assists, but I just think he's a classy operator and, too good for this division for me. And yeah, I don't know, he's one to watch for me going into this one. But we are a Huddersfield Town podcast, and I'm going to jump in because we've got our own Lewis. I picked Lewis O'Brien as our key player.
Oh, that's awkward.
The better Lewis. I think Hogg might be dropped for this one, given he went off at half time and given we've cursed him now, Tom.
Yeah.
So I think the reason O'Brien will be key for this is because I think we'll need his ball winning abilities more in this one, and to work on his defensive duties and also try and break forward when he can. So I think if we get anything from this, O'Brien's the key one for me. Is it awkward because you picked him as well, Tom?
Yeah, and literally exactly the same reasons, Brady. I'm not even going to pick anyone else because I think out of all the players against Millwall as well, it was kind of him and Nichols who actually had decent games. Everyone else just seemed off, and I think if O'Brien, he's just key in it for us having good games. So bring on Saturday and Lewis O'Brien masterclass.
Yeah, if Hogg's not playing, he'll be captain as well. So you want as the cliche goes, a real captain's performance.
Yeah.
There we go, like that. Si, are you going to make it 3 in a row? Did you pick Lewis as well?
I didn't, but I kind of agree with everything you say. I think from my point of view, big fan of Lee Nichols, and I think kind of the reason I just mentioned about Dominic Solanke, actually, I think kind of he will be called into action probably at various points throughout the game. He has not let us down at all to this point, and kind of similar to the whole team, actually kind of surpassed all expectations when we signed him on a free transfer from Milton Keynes. But I think kind of it will be called upon during the game, and I think will probably require him to certainly make some good saves and kind of command his box in the way he has done this season. So looking for another big game from him, really.
Yeah, I mean, he's England goalkeeper as well, if you ask David Hartrick. So Dave does listen, so he knows I'm only, I've joked with him about that. But yeah, I think he's been so good on his side. Like, I know we say it every week, but like you said last night as well, that save was unbelievable. You know, how he managed to keep that out when he was down on the ground.
Yeah, brilliant. And then also the one kind of, there's a couple, wasn't there, as well? And just, I just think, but for me, Lee Nichols, obviously the big saves will kind of grab the headlines and to some extent rightly so, but his positional sense as a goalkeeper, I think the way that he's built a relationship with his defenders, kind of obviously lots of trust there. It's everything that wasn't there last year almost in terms of kind of basic goalkeeping. I think, maybe England's not quite there just yet, but you do kind of think past Pickford and Ramsdale, kind of how many options are there, and never say never.
Well, Look at Johnston, really. I mean, he's not been brilliant, has he, at West Brom this season?
Yeah, Nick Pope hasn't really got the headlines of Burnley that perhaps he once did, and like I say, he went very much into the Championship, and for that point, then why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys won't be surprised to hear I had this debate with Matt because Ollie Fisher, when he came on here, he said a similar thing, didn't he, Tom?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
You'll be surprised to hear Matt doesn't agree. And thinks I think he said like the 8th best keeper in England, like England's goalkeepers. So I don't know. Anyway, that's a separate debate. But it's time to view from the other side. So I caught up with another Tom Jordan from Bournemouth fan podcast Back of the Net. Nice Partridge reference for you there. Head of the game, and here's what he had to say about this key match.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Hi Tom, thanks for joining me. So this is a key game, isn't it? 2nd v 3rd. How are Bournemouth fans feeling about the end of season run-in?
Hello, mate. Yeah, obviously a key game, massive game in terms of it being 2nd v 3rd as we're recording. And yeah, I mean, we played in the week at home to Reading and were really disappointing in a 1-1 draw. Really disappointing the week before at home to Peterborough as well. We managed to get a win over Derby sandwiched in between that, but we're not playing well. I think since turn of the year we've been kind of mid-table in terms of our form, so we're a little bit apprehensive. We look at the league table and the games in hand and the points we already have. I mean, people always say you'd rather have the points than games in hand. Well, we have both, so it would take a really bad run of form for us not to make it, in my opinion. Having said that, we haven't been looking good lately and we're kind of stumbling over the line. So this is a game that, because of our recent results, is even bigger. And we need to just go there and stop you winning. So we'd definitely take a point. And like I say, apprehensive about the run-in, but hoping we'll just have enough. We've got a lot of quality players, so we're hoping we'll stumble ourselves over the line and get promotion.
And how are you feeling about the Huddersfield game?
In terms of the Huddersfield game itself, we're wary because I think you guys, looking really impressive, surprising everyone with where you are in the league this season, I must say, and credit to you for that. You remind us quite a lot of when we got promoted back in 2015, kind of that 4-4-2 and very play on the front foot, make it difficult for the opposition and try and score some goals. So that's going to be difficult for us. Having said that, we've struggled more this season with teams near the bottom end of the table who have that kind of low block and sit and frustrate. As I mentioned earlier, Peterborough, played them twice, scored 1 goal, haven't beaten them. Hull, haven't scored against them. Got 1 point out of 2 games. We lost to Derby away from home. We've just drawn with Reading at home. So we do struggle with teams down there who try and frustrate. And hopefully, thinking on the positive side, that because Huddersfield will probably come and try and play and beat us, that might suit us on the counter-attack with, the likes of Dominic Solanke, Ryan Christie, as you well know, Philip Billing. So hopefully we can take advantage of that and catch you on the counter. But definitely going to be a high-scoring game, in my opinion. I think both teams have got the armoury to score goals.
And finally, where do you expect the game to be won or lost from a Bournemouth perspective?
And yeah, as I say, I think it's both teams defensively are going to have to try and keep the door closed as much as they can. We've obviously got Dom Solanke leading the line, who's over 20 goals this season, and I know Danny Ward's been on form for you guys. So there's some real talent in both teams going forward. So I think whose defence is on top, who managed to shut the other one out for the majority of the game, really. Definitely not expecting to win the game the way we're playing, but I'm also hoping with the quality we've got, and as I say, the way you guys play, that we'll be able to go there, get a point, get home, and think that's a positive point. We've stopped Huddersfield gaining any ground. So I'm going to go for a score draw, mate, but definitely expecting a tough one. And whatever happens, I think you'll be in amongst it. Like I say, I'm hoping we'll just nick second, but I think you'll be in them playoff places and you'll certainly be a threat to anyone. So, yeah, all the best, but go easy on us. We're a little bit fragile at the moment. I'm hoping for a draw, and hopefully we'll both be relatively happy with that one. Cheers.
Okay, so we've heard from Tom. Now, you might hear this on the concourse before. I was watching Town when you were in nappies, pal. Yep, that means it's time for Return to the Mac.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. De Potter's got the better. Yeah! And Laurent De Potter scored! What a goal, Aaron Moy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia.
Return to the Mac. So, Return to the Mac. Si, I'll let you go first because you're our guest. Who are you bringing back from the past in this one?
So I've kind of tried to dig back into the archives a little bit to try and work out who I would want to reinvigorate, for want of a better phrase. You mentioned at the top, Brady, that actually our record against Bournemouth is relatively even, but actually in recent years, perhaps less so. We beat them 4-1 not so long since, but actually prior to that, kind of had to go back to 24th of August 2013 for our last victory, which was a 5-1 win. And on the team sheet that day, you had on the bench that day, you had our very own Danny Ward. So obviously he'll be there, but actually it's not him I've chosen because obviously he still plays for us, but it's actually James Vaughan who scored a hat-trick that day with goals in the 37th, 42nd and 58th minute. So yes, now I believe sporting director of Tranmere, whatever that means and whatever that entails, but a peak James Vaughan and kind of I think would be good to lead the line this coming Saturday.
Yeah, I love that show. I love James Vaughan. Classic. If he was injury free, he wouldn't be at Town. But absolutely loved him. Would you agree, Tom?
Yeah, massively. He was great, wasn't he? What a lad. One of those players that you just love because you can tell that he's giving everything when he's on the pitch, and he had a bit of a feisty attitude as well, didn't he? So, great shout, Si, that.
Absolutely. Tom, who did you go for? Did you go for someone equally as lovable or someone weird like we normally do? We're ripping up the format.
I think I did because my thing now, Brady, I'm starting to think of kind of what Si's done is look at when we played them before and maybe players that have stood out when we've played them before. And one player for me, one goal that I'll never forget was away against Bournemouth. Was it first season we were back in League One with Jacko, John Worthington, where he basically picks it up on the edge of our penalty box and runs the length of the pitch and slots it home. So I'm bringing John Worthington back because I just think, like you said, Brady, touching on would Hoggy be fit and maybe having John Worthington in because he liked a good tackle as well. So him and Lewis in the middle with John Russell maybe would be quite a good sight.
Yeah, I really like that shout. I'm definitely not going to win the poll now after your two choices. So big game. So normally I'd go for a big gun. I've already picked Aaron Moy if I could have, but I'd pick him every week, wouldn't I? I'm going to go for someone who I thought was a bit underrated when he was at Town. And, you know, I know we talk about hot takes, which is, you know, a lot of hypothetical situations. Always would have liked to have seen if he'd stayed. Tom Ince. I thought Tom Ince in the first season of the Prem was a bit underrated, to be honest. I thought he was decent. He always worked hard. I know he was a bit goal shy. I remember when he finally got that goal. I can't remember who it was again. It might have been Stoke. Just the relief. He scored the crucial one against Watford, didn't he?
Oh, did he score 2 goals that season?
Yeah.
He only ended up scoring 1. Oh, yeah, he scored against Stoke, didn't he?
Yeah. But he scored in the win against Bournemouth. That was it. There you go.
I think what you need to remember is we traded Tom Ince in for Diakhaby and Benza, and in that context, Tom Ince, world beater. I liked him.
I liked
him as well.
Yeah, and I just think in this team he'd be a good option because he always worked hard, and that's what Carlos gets from his players, and I think it could work. You know,
you're on about the goal he scored on Wednesday night or Tuesday night for Reading, Brady.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Great strike.
That was
great
touch.
Strike. Just bounces up nicely, and he hit it so well. Yeah, I rate Tom Ince. I was a bit annoyed that we got rid of him because it was kind of the downfall of that second season, wasn't it? Kind of getting rid of players who maybe had a bit of something about them, a bit of experience in the Prem, and then, like Si said, bringing in the Chuckle Brothers, basically.
I think the thing with Tom Ince for me was that when he signed, I was expecting a very silky player with lots of skill and quality, but someone who probably wouldn't work very hard. And what transpired was actually someone who did work very, very hard off the ball, but perhaps kind of wasn't quite at that Premier League level where we wanted him to be.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone could fault his attitude, and I was a bit sad to see him go, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never know, but I always thought that was a bit interesting because we pretty much got what we paid for him, didn't we? So, yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I'd love to see another world where Tom Ince stayed. And, you know, it could have been crap second season because, let's be honest, a lot of the players were. But who knows? But we'll move on anyway. We'll stop talking about my Tom Ince fantasies because it's time for You're the Boss. So, yeah, how are we going for Town in this one? Si, I don't think I might have asked you this before, but, you know, it was probably like 40-odd pod episodes ago. If you're in the dugout instead of Carlos, how are you dressing up as a manager? Are you going suit, tracksuit, something different?
Well, you're up against Scott Parker this week, aren't you? Who is partial for a cheeky gilet and kind of jumper or shirt combination. Something that looks very kind of weird, for a better phrase. So whatever you wear, you're 1-0 up in the fashion stakes already for me. I'd be kind of tracksuit with a nice kind of new pair of white trainers.
Nice. Club tracksuit, you know,
on brand.
Initials on? SC?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Okay, well, you sorted your outfit, but how are you sorting the team? What would you start in 11 be?
Good question. So I think as difficult as it may be, I think I'd be tempted to revert to like a 4-3-3 formation. Obviously try to switch back to kind of or try and incorporate the 3 centre halves last night with the return of Colwell from injury. I'm not quite sure that works, and obviously the result would suggest so. So I think reverting back to 4 at the back is probably the way forward for me, particularly being at home. That then makes it quite difficult actually, because you've probably got to choose 2 from Pearson, Lees and Colwell. I think I'd be tempted to leave Pearson out probably. Actually, I think kind of Tom Lees is just, well, we're both out, but Tom Lees has done really well, and certainly recently possesses quite a goal threat from corners. So I think important to keep him in. So yeah, look for me, Nichols at the back, back 4 of probably Toffolo, Colwell, Lees, Turton, assuming Pippa's not quite fit. Kind of 3 in front of Lewis O'Brien. Probably kind of have John Russell one side of him, and then maybe Dwayne Holmes the other, just to kind of use his work rate and all that sort of thing. Potentially Thomas on the right hand side. maybe actually Dwayne Holmes out on the left and Sinani in the middle. They could interchange a little bit, and then Danny Ward up top. So not a massive depart from kind of the teams we've seen in most recent weeks. Really, with kind of quite a few options off the bench. That's really what I'm leaning towards.
That's the exact same team as what I picked. I dropped this, and it's so great mind, Si. What a fantastic choice. Tom, what about you? Are you doing anything different?
Well, Carlos actually almost did this formation that I picked on the last pod, and obviously that didn't work. So let's hope he doesn't listen to this and just listen to my amazing formation ideas.
I'm sure he does, mate. It's all about the details.
I'm going with the same formation as you guys. Oh, but I don't know. I might have Colwell on the bench and have Pearson and Lees in, because I didn't think Colwell played too well last night. And I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? This because you've got 3 really good centre backs who've been great for the whole season, and you've got to make that decision. But yeah, I'd just do it. Colwell, sorry mate. Have a nice little watch for a bit, and if it's going rough, we'll get you on. And then I'm starting Jonathan Hogg still. I'm sticking by my man Hogg here, keeping him in there. I know he made a massive mistake on Wednesday night, but I did think after he'd gone off at half time, we did look a bit. I don't know. I feel like we looked worse in the second half than we did in the first half. I don't know whether that was because there was too much formation playing and bringing players on it, making a defensive sub from a free kick. Oh, Carlos, come on, mate. That's rule 101, isn't it? Really, there. So I'm sticking with Hoggy because I think he just brings that leadership in the middle. I'm ready for the hate mail.
Don't think you'll get a hate mail, mate. I think, well, we talked about it, didn't we, in that hot take? Like, he's not. I don't think he's an automatic starter. I'd probably keep him on the bench and maybe bring him on, depending on how the game's going, if you need to close it out. Or, but then again, I like you picking him because let's be honest, Jefferson Lerma and him, who's going to win in the shithouse midfield battle?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you know, that's the real contest on Saturday. Yeah, okay. I think this is about bench options. You know, like I say, I kept the same as Si, but you know, I liked your shout about Pippa for Millwall, and I feel like maybe that's how we use him. I feel as well, you know, I think Tino's getting a lot of stick, you know, for coming on in the last 15 minutes. I know he's been hyped, and we've, you know, I'll admit maybe helped hype him up when I did that article and mentioned it on the podcast, but you know, he'll. Like Carlos has said, he'll be needed after the international break, you know, more. So we'll see. I think Eiting, you know, he could always add to this. Again, we've seen what Rhodes can do from the bench. So, you know, I know Bournemouth are a good team, but we do have players who can hurt them and come off the bench and make a difference. So we will see anyway. But yeah, how do you see this one going, guys? So I'll come to you. What's your score prediction now? How's this playing?
Good question. Well, I think we'll bounce back, and I can see us actually winning the game 2-1.
Lovely. That's what I want to hear. That's why you're on side, because we need a bit of positivity.
When I'm wrong, you won't invite me back next week.
If I didn't invite people back when they got it wrong, we'd have no guests. So, yeah. And I could talk. We always get it wrong. Who do you think is scoring for Town then, Si?
Oh, good question. I mean, I think kind of Danny Ward will score one. I think kind of he's in really good form. Then look at to your point before, I'd love to see Tino come off the bench perhaps and grab an 85th minute winner. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Kind of big scenes.
Nice.
Big scenes indeed. That would be sweet. And also, I think I've peddled this stat before. Every game Danny Ward scored or assisted, we've not lost this season in the league. So there you go. Tom, how do you see this one playing out?
I think it'll be a tight one. So I watched most of their game against Reading, and I didn't really think they were. And I watched a bit of the Derby one as well, so a bit of that, and I thought, just think they're a bit there for the taking at the moment, if that makes sense. I think it just depends if we can bounce back from Wednesday. I mean, one clean sheet in 11 they've had their last 11 games. I think you've got to be confident to at least be scoring. And I watched like 10 games. Their last 6 games, right, Brady? They scored 10 goals, and all those goals have been in the box, and they've all been basically in and around the 5-yard box. There's been no screamers or anything. So I guess it's kind of down to the defence keeping it tight, keeping them out the box, limiting them to maybe taking some pot shots from out the box. So I think if Town are on 100% form, keeping it tight, bit of shithousery along the way, I'm going for a 1-0 win, and it's going to be one of those famous days that everyone talks about because Ollie Turton is going to get the winner.
Oh, yes. I love that.
That day's got to come at some point. Why not on Saturday?
Exactly. It's getting closer and closer, to be fair, as well. So I like it. Ginger Cafu.
I'm going out Saturday night. If Ollie Turton scores the winner, not sure how much of Sunday I will see.
Well, for God's sake, Ollie, do us a favour. Do it for Si.
Yeah.
Tough on this because I think they're a good team. They're in bad form. I think this is going to be this is also another cliche, but I think this game's going to really ebb and flow. I feel like we'll be on top. I feel we're going to have to hang on for quite a lot in this game. So you can tell I'm kind of sitting on the fence. I think this is going to be a respectable draw. But I think if we do score first, I think we'll win. Again, cliche, but I think if they score first, I could see a draw in it. And maybe, again, international breaks coming up. I think the team probably need that to kind of regroup and refocus anyway, just because we've had a bit of a tricky week heading into this one. And it might be one of them, if we did draw, that looks like quite a good point, further down the line. So I did go 1-1, but if we score first, I think we'll win. So there you go, 2 predictions for the price of 1 there.
It's interesting.
Anyway.
It's the manner in which you secure a point, isn't it? In that, obviously, when we drew the other night, kind of against West Brom, 2-0 up, kind of to then get a point feels very much like 2 points dropped. It was 2 points dropped. If you kind of secure an 85th minute equaliser at the weekend, I think we'll be quite happy. So we'll see.
We will see, yeah. And I just, unfortunately, I can't go to the game, which is, I'm annoyed about. But we just need to get behind the lads here. Like, I think we're all a bit pissed off about Millwall. It's natural, but the teams you touched on it, size team's doing great this season, and we, I don't doubt it, but I think Town fans will, back them on Saturday as much as they can, and that's what they need, because they're doing amazing, aren't they? They're exceeding expectations. So let's see what the 12th man can do. But Tom, you look a little hot under the collar, I'd say, mate. That must mean it's time for hot takes.
Getting hot in here, Brady.
Big bleak hot, mate. Big bleak hot, mate.
Oh, it's wham. Yep, so this is Hot Takes, the part where you share your spicy opinion about Huddersfield Town with your reason why, and we will debate it on the podcast. As always, Hot Takes are anonymous, so don't forget to email brady@takesthatchance.com for a chance to be featured. Now, gents, this hot take, I've got to be honest, this came through in the inbox. It was quite fiery, and it annoyed me, to be fair.
No.
So I'll read it for you. Town will not make the playoffs because we haven't got the squad for it. There's better teams than us, and we've got a tough run in. Everyone needs to, and this was in caps, wake up and realise it. Si, we're third in the table. I mean, admittedly, QPR are 6 and only 4 points off, but I think that's quite negative, surely.
Yeah, you got to dream, got to believe. Where's the fun? Yeah, you know what? Maybe there are kind of clubs out there with better squads than us. We talked about Bournemouth earlier, and we need to look down their team and some of the names I've got on there. Gary Cahill, kind of ex-England international, Nathaniel Phillips on loan from Liverpool, Lewis Cook, Philip Billing, who we spoke about, kind of Dominic Solanke. There probably are teams out there with better squads than us, and certainly squads that are worth much more money. But the collectiveness that this team's got and the unity that this team's got, I'd argue there's very few, if any, clubs out there in the league that have better team spirit than what we've got. And but I think it's going to be close ultimately, kind of as to whether or not we can secure a playoff spot or not. We've got some quite difficult games to play, but so over teams will drop points. I don't think we should panic too much after Millwall. We were never going to go on an unbeaten run to the end of the season. We were never going to go and win or draw every single game. It was always going to be a bit of a blip, and just need to kind of keep calm and kind of believe. And I think we'll do it.
Oh, well said, mate. Well said, Tom. Have they got anything in that, or are we all just dismissing it?
So the hot take says we won't make the playoffs, and everyone needs to wake up because the squad's not good enough. So what is there? 8 games left, and we're third, right? I honestly think we only need, because normally it's 72, 75 points. You're in the playoffs, aren't you? So 3 wins, 4 wins. We're doing it. We're in the playoffs, man. We're going to do this. Mate, I think we're even going to sneak in second at some point. We'll get... No, but seriously, I think you can't be at this stage of the season saying that we're lucky to be there, basically, and we're going to bottle it. Because I just, like I said, this team's kind of morale, the togetherness is awesome. I think you look at, they make a good point about the squads. I think at the start of the season, everyone wrote us off, Town fans thought we didn't have a good enough squad, but football ain't won on paper, is it? There you go. There's your cliche of the day.
I like that. I write that down. I'll use that next time I'm invited back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it annoyed me. I just think, I get it. It was annoying. It was annoying to lose to Millwall. You touched on it, Si. We weren't going to go unbeaten till the end of the season. It is what it is. Like you said, just enjoy it, man. I just think there is a chance we could finish outside the playoffs. We could. Absolutely. There's a few teams in there. There's a lot of games to go, but I'd be disappointed if we finish outside the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. That would be awful, but it'd still be a better season than we had last season. There's 8 games left. I actually had a little look into 6th place finishes, what the average points were. Highest points tally was in 16-17. The team that finished 6th was Fulham, and that was 80 points. But the lowest is kind of 68, but they tend to be between 70 and 75, I'd say. So that's if you think about it, 10 more points, 12 points. So what's that, 4 games, like you say, Tom, 4 wins? Yeah. I think we can do it. We've got some home games. We have got some tough games, but, even if teams have got 1 game in hand on us, but they won't overtake us, and they've all got to play each other. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns in this. And to use another cliche, Tom, that's what the Championship, and that's why we love it.
Exactly. And mate, you're spot on. I am such a nerd at this time of the year. I get on those football table prediction things. Where you can put your own score in, see who wins. Honestly, right? Everyone has got... I'd say our fixtures are out of the top kind of 8. We have actually got an all right running, I think, because we've only got to play Bournemouth and Luton as well.
QPR, Borough.
Okay, maybe not then. But everyone else is in the same boat. Everyone else seems to be playing that. Bournemouth's fixtures are only against teams in the kind of chasing. I think the only game is Bristol City, maybe, who aren't looking like they could sneak in there. I just think, 1 win, you can't be worrying. 1 loss. Can't be worrying about where we're going to finish. And at the end of the day, we have well overachieved. What a season. These players deserve so much credit.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is going to be loads of random results, not just with us. I mean, look the other week, Sheffield United in great form, play Coventry, lose 4-1. That's going to happen. Anyone can be, again, another cliche, anyone can beat anyone on the day.
It's the Championship, mate.
Yeah, and like you say, Championship, there's still another 50 odd games to go because it never ends. But that's why we love it. We could finish out of it, but I think we're in a strong position. We win on Saturday. We level on points with Bournemouth. Yeah, they've got a better goal difference, but yeah, I don't know. I'd take this 8 games to go, 3rd in the league.
Exactly, and I think certainly I at the start of the season predicted us to be in and around the relegation places.
Yeah,
actually, isn't it nice just to be kind of having these sorts of conversations rather than kind of thinking, oh, we need X points to be safe, or kind of what's our goal difference like, all that sort of thing. Enjoy the journey.
Exactly. So, if you were feeling a bit blue after the Millwall game, I think we've all cheered you up. Come on. It's like, again, let's use a very long, drawn-out metaphor and analogy. Look, we've just, it's a big game. The season's 90 minutes. We've just conceded a goal. What we're doing right here now is we're rallying the troops. Like, come on, Town, because there's still time left. So
full time, Huddersfield Town 0, Bournemouth 3.
Thanks, Tom. I think we'll call it there then.
Oh, we can't end on that
note. Hey, look, right. Even if we lose, I'll finish it here. If we lose to Bournemouth, we've got the international break. I think we've always done better when Carlos has more time on the training pitch with the players anyway. So better teams have lost to Bournemouth. I think the drew with Fulham again. Who knows what's going to happen? But there's still games to go. And we've got points on the board, and that's where you'd want. So let's look up the Town. Exactly, mate. I think we'll call it there. Thanks to Tom and Si for coming on. Thanks to you all for listening, and as always, thanks to Magic Rock for sponsoring this podcast. There's the international break coming up after this, but Tom and I will be back to preview the whole game. So I think we could all do with a bit of a rest, and then we'll get right back on it to preview the game. So ta-ta for now, and up the Town.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So Town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So Town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.